Hello and welcome to our tutorial on how to sew the comfy pencil skirt 14-2 cornetto from sisterMAG Patterns. This video shows you the full tutorial from beginning to end on how to make this skirt. First, along the fold lines, press the cut-on pocket pouches to the inside. You are doing this from seam number 1 to seam number 2. Iron everything well. A so-called sewing ham can really help you set this fold because it absorbs any humidity from the fabric. Now lay the pocket pouches against seam numbers 1 and 2 and secure them with little stitches at the ends. The folded edge should be a little longer so that the pocket bulges slightly. After securing the seams, your pockets should look like this. And you can see how it bulges a little bit out. Now lay the two pocket pouches together and sew these pockets together along the outer line. Trim the seam allowance and then finish the edges together. Now place the pleats as marked. The X goes onto the O and secure them at the top edge. Let's now work on the back skirt. We are using a standard zipper, so for this press the center back edges to the inside. Then lay the zipper exactly onto the edges and sew on the first side. The zipper lays right side on right side. Use a zipper foot for this. Close the zipper and you can see how the folded center back edge now lays on top of the zipper, exactly up to the half of the zipper. Bring the back edges back together and sew the zipper on using a zipper foot on the other side. The two folded lines of your center backs should exactly align and touch each other. Now you can fold in these lines. Iron everything well. And now you will sew a line along the straight edges and across the end of the zipper, securing the seam allowance along these lines, so it will be sitting neatly in the back of your skirt. This is what it looks like after. Now close the center back seam on the lower skirt part up to the vent marking. Clip your seam allowances exactly at the vent marking so that your seam allowance at the center back can be ironed apart. And this is a good point to actually fold your vent like this and iron everything. How you'll finish the vent we'll show you later. Now pin the upper skirt part right sides together onto the lower skirt part. This becomes a very certain design feature because, as you can see in the silhouette, the butt gets a very nice curve in this pencil skirt, and this is how you achieve that. Your center back seam of the upper skirt part and the lower skirt part should meet exactly, and it is important to work very carefully at this point. Sew together and press the seam allowances apart. If you have it, then use a rounded ironing board to really put in that curve at this point. Fold your waistband lengthwise, wrong sides together, and press the top edge. Finish the side that will not have interfacing with a casting over casting stitch. Press interfacing onto one side of the strip up to the pressed edge. It can overlap a tiny bit over the folded middle edge. If you do not want to top stitch the waistband, you can sew a line of stitching on the inner waistband just next to the waistband edge. This stabilizes the top edge and keeps the interfacing from coming loose. Now pin the lower edge of the waistband, that's the one with the interfacing, right sides together onto the top edge of the skirt, minding the underlap. And now sew it on. Press the seam allowance into the waistband. Sew the short ends of the waistband right sides together. For this you just fold it like this, and it's very neat to also fold in the seam allowance like this, because then you just have a neat edge right away. Really form out these edges using a wooden tool. With the underlap part, do the same thing. You fold right sides together, fold the seam allowance around, and then sew this short edge. Turn everything inside out. Close the lower end of your underlap with hand stitching. Now baste the waistband and stitch in the ditch from the outside. Work in a buttonhole and sew a button onto the underlap in the matching position. Now let's finish the unlined skirt vent. With the underlap and the hem folded in and upwards, mark the corners where the two meet on all layers of your fabrics. Now unfold. and place the ends of the diagonal line right sides together. Sew along this diagonal line and secure the ends of the seam. Trim this fabric corner, so just trim this whole edge. And then you can turn your corner inside out. And you have a beautiful corner for your vent. Iron everything well. You can see it here on the second side again. You are marking where the hem allowance and the vent allowance meet. Really press in this corner to have it neat. Then put the two markings together, right sides together, and mark your diagonal line. Sew along this line and then trim the corner with about 1 centimeter seam allowance. Clip the inner corner and turn the corner inside out. Now you only have to finish the end of your vent. First sew a straight line at the end of your vent. Now baste all these layers together. And from the outside, set the diagonal seam at the end of the vent with a straight machine stitch. Fold the hem to the inside and sew it on with invisible hand stitching. And that was it. We hope that you really enjoyed sewing your cornetto skirt 14.2 from sisterMAG Patterns. Check out our other YouTube video tutorials and of course our patterns on sistermagpatterns.com.